Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's Albert with Two Tribes Primal Living.
And Nikki.
And what we wanted to talk to you two guys today about is
The differences.
the differences and the intentions of why and how you eat. I'll let her kick it off with her intentions and tell you a little bit about the way she eats.
So our intentions are very different. My intention for the way I eat is really based around wellness, my wellness. And wellness is not only is it the absence of disease, which is the definition of health, but it's in the area of mind, emotions, body, and spirit. So I eat nutritionally to relinquish or let go of unhealthy things and bring my body back to homeostasis so that I am well. And in the home, he and I have very different eating styles in terms of food, and we have very different intentions in terms of food. So even our grocery store adventures, they feed into those intentions. So his intention is,
Well, my intention is to not eat like a dumbass, is basically what it comes down to. I used to eat like that. I used to be a whole lot heavier than I am now. I used to be a whole lot more out of balance with wellness. And what I mean by that was inflammation. I had a lot of inflammation in my joints. I had a lot of extra weight that I was carrying, probably visceral fat, because of my body shape and the way I was eating. When we came back from the mountains, and that's no excuse. It's like 3 years ago we came back from the mountains. But when you're living up there, the caloric requirement is so much higher than
I say
on the flat land.
45 to 5,000 calories a day.
Yeah, so it really got easy to eat cake and eat ice cream and all the things, and not like gorging on this stuff like some people do, but on the weekends or when we'd go out to eat, yeah, sure, let's have dessert, or sure, let's grab a gelato, or let's grab something.
But we carried that
sweet.
Back to the
Yeah,
flatland.
we carried that back,
Yeah.
and I had to get away from that because I was getting a little fluffy, and I was getting, I mean, all the sugar and all the carbohydrates that
Oh my gosh.
were basically bringing me into a state of disease, and I did not want that. So after a lot of research and a lot of understanding on how I used to eat and how I felt about the way I used to eat, and how I was feeling currently, I kind of started just doing some research on how to get rid of inflammation and really understanding where inflammation derived from. And I started learning that the seed oils that I was once thought were kind of healthy for you were really bad for you. And there's a reason for all that. And that's where all the inflammation in my body was coming from, because I mean, my joints hurt, my shoulders, my knees, my neck, my back. And I didn't have injuries, so it had to be inflammation. And going carnivore, full-blown carnivore, was what got rid of all that, and weight loss was a side effect. So for me, the intention was not weight loss, but to get rid of all the inflammation. Like I said, weight loss was a side effect, and it was a lot of weight loss. I think I lost
40 pounds.
40.
He dropped 40 pounds probably in 6 to 8 weeks.
And I still weight loss is not my goal. So I fluctuate between 5 and 7 pounds swing either way. But I mean, that if I eat 2 pounds of meat that day, that's gonna definitely affect my weight. But it was more about just not being sick anymore and trying to stay out of the sick care system, which what y'all call the medical care system.
Which was a goal for you,
Yeah,
right?
I
that
do
was
not
a goal.
want to get sick.
We have different goals.
My goal is to not be
get
not be sick and be plopped down in front of a doctor, because after what I've seen over the last few years of what doctors have done to people, I don't want anything to do with those guys, because it's just an ongoing cycle of you're sick, now you went to the doctor, now you're on something,
like
or
a
you're
spiral.
sicker. And yes, I've seen the downward spirals. I saw it with my own mother. I saw it with my own father,
And we
they're
see
both
it here
dead. Yeah, I
in
see
the
it with
gym all the time.
we see it with our clients,
Yes.
and it's just something that I've opted to just stay out of that system. The health, the sickness care system is not for you if you're not sick. So her intentions of eating, that's enough of mine.
Well, my intention, like I said, was around wellness, and that really, what was wellness for me. I had some issues as I get older. I was having some issues with, little blood pressure spikes and a little bit of the shakes and things like that, and joint pains. And I just attributed it to being in fitness for so long. So I took my diet down to nothing. Basically some fish, some raw fruits, some raw vegetables, and that was it. And a little bit of meat, and then started adding things back in over time, and added the meat back in, no change. It's when I added sugar back in, or processed foods or seed oils back in, my joints started hurting. So I was able to eliminate those things through the process of elimination, but to feed that wellness, to feed my goal, which was overall wellness, which is, like I said earlier, it is that balance of being healthy in mind, body, spirit.
Yeah.
And then my goals were very different than yours as well.
Yeah.
The wellness is the intention, so I've always want that wellness, but then my individual goals like muscle tone, strength, just having the energy that I need to sustain my day. I want to make sure my nutrition feeds into those goals for me. And so because I train 6 days a week, you don't train as much, but you have a much more physically laborious job than I do. So our goals then would be very different, right?
Yep.
Like, what were your goals?
My goals were just sustained energy level, and not getting sick. One of the other goals that I really had to take into consideration, because I do see what is going on the planet with the economy and with wars and nature and grids down and internet down and all that stuff. And it's just a matter of time before you're searching for food. And when you're searching for food and you're an addict to food, or you're an addict to anything, and it's not available, life is going to be pretty hard for you.
Especially if you're used to having 3
Yeah.
square meals a day with
Yep.
your sides and your meat and the dessert.
Driving
and
up to some window and
Right.
somebody
Right.
handing you a bag of crap, or
A bag
delivering
of
it to your door. And
when that's gone, what are they
when
gonna
that's
do?
gone, what are you going to
Yeah.
do when you're raging hungry because your body is addicted to certain substances that you've
Food
been putting
stuff.
into it, and it's not just sugar, because
No. It's chemicals.
when you think about it, and you look at that line at Chick-fil-A and you wonder what they're putting in their chicken to make it so good, it's got to be narcotics, because it doesn't take 50 ingredients to make a chicken sandwich, and over half of them are man-made. So being not addicted to food was a major goal for me. I need to be able to sustain myself as people did 200 years ago, 300
Primal eating,
Yes,
functionally.
eating primally, and people don't understand that the your ancestors, the primordial people that lived before us, didn't eat like us. They didn't have 3 square meals a day with biscuits and bacon and eggs and
Dessert.
for breakfast, and then a stack of pancakes. No, they probably had a piece of meat that they killed the day before, or an animal that they trapped, and that was their caloric intake. They weren't eating, heaping bowls of kale and spinach, and because they would never get the caloric requirements that they needed to be able to sustain. I was talking to one of my guys, and he went out on the Lewis and Clark expedition tour museum, and he was talking about one of the entries from Lewis had indicated that the men are eating 8 pounds of meat each a day. And I want you to put that into context, what 8 pounds of meat looks like. I mean, you look at a half-pound burger, or
an 8-pound brisket.
Yeah, 8-pound brisket. That's a lot of meat for a man to eat a day, but they required that caloric intake, because they were rowing, and they were walking, and they were hauling, and they were hunting, and they were having to do manly things.
They weren't eating fries.
Yeah, they weren't eating no French fries. They didn't have sriracha sauce on their elk or their rabbit. They ate it with herbs like sage or
Whatever is available.
whatever was available in the area. Salt was salted pork was something that they would carry around. Bacon, because it had the amino acids and protein and fat requirements that they needed. What we eat today is nothing like what the primal people eat that we are derived from. We are a derivative of those people, and we eat like pigs. We eat the slop that pigs eat, and we wonder why we're sick and why we have no energy levels and why our bones and joints hurt and why we can't ever feel good emotionally, spiritually, is because our bodies are just dumping grounds. They've been so bombarded with chemicals that the only way out of it is reversing it. Cancer, diabetes, heart disease, all these things.
Disease. All of those are disease.
And what are they all? They're all preventable
Yep.
by choices.
Yep.
Little choices
Even
that you
if
make.
genetics, people get into this thing with me, oh, it's in my genetics. You,
Oh,
through
yeah.
your
Yeah.
diet, unlock the genetic codes.
Yeah, obesity runs in my family. No, nobody runs in your
No.
family. What runs in your family is bad habits.
Yes.
Grandma taught mom how to cook, mom taught the kids how to eat. And because there has been this change up of ingredients from when grandma was a child eating wholesome pancakes and wholesome cakes made from scratch, that flour that grandma used isn't the same flour that your mom used, and it's not the same flour that I get to go into the store and buy.
Which
and
is
it's definitely not going to
processed.
Yeah, it's not going to be the same flour that your kids go in there and buy when they're old enough to buy it. It's going to be bioengineered garbage. The plants are bioengineered. The plants are missing nutrition.
The soil is depleted
soil is
of all
depleted.
minerals. I mean, that's why we
And,
need a
and what
mineral
do they need to
supplement.
do? They sell you a box of cereal because they bleached all the nutrients out of it and they took all the good stuff out of it, and then they have to fortify it with
Spray.
with fake
Yeah.
nutrients made up in a lab, and that's what you get.
That's what you get.
You don't get to choose.
But it
whether
says
or not-
fortified.
Yeah, it's fortified. It's supposed
So
to be.
it's supposed to be good for you.
It's supposed to be
healthy.
good for you. It's healthy. It's got all the little logos on the box from the American Heart
So
Association.
Fruit Loops are
and,
healthy.
yeah, and the American Cancer Society that say this is good for you. But no sooner than you turn the box around, do a little research, you find out that the box is a lie and the commercial is a lie, and your kids are sick and your grandma is sick and you're sick because of what's in that box and what you've been tricked into buying. And one of the things with Trump and RFK coming into office is they're supposed to be hammering down on all these
Health.
crappy regulations that the corporations and the federal government have allowed to exist.
That cause disease.
Yep. Because when you're sick, guess what? When you're sick, it's not that you're just sick. It's that you're making a lot of money for a lot of people because you're sick. Your sickness is profitable. You being sick is a better deal for large corporations, large pharmaceutical corporations, large medical corporations. It is in their best interest for you to be sick. So why would anybody educate you on being healthy if it's more profitable for you to be sick? You want to add to that?
Well, I mean, working in the industry for as long as I did, you get to see that it is about profits. It's all about profits. Just like the healthcare industry, there is nothing in the healthcare industry that says anything about they care about your health. They care about their shareholders. They care about the bottom line and the budgets at the end of the year. That's all that they care about. They don't care about preventing cancer. And so that's just an example of disease. So they aren't really interested in solving any of the problems with our health care system or food system to prevent disease, because that would impact their profits. That would impact negatively what the shareholders get and their shares and their bonuses and all of that stuff.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest. You people need to start reading labels.
Oh,
and
completely.
I'm gonna put it to you this way: if you're a vegan, let's just say you're a vegan, and all you eat is plant material, or you're a carnivore, there's a spectrum in between this end of the spectrum compared to this end of the spectrum, and then you got all the people in the middle who are all sick and trying to figure out why they're sick. And I'm talking about clean eating vegans and
Yes.
clean eating carnivores. The commonality that we have at different ends of the spectrum is we've cut out all the garbage, and
Which is in the center.
health
Yeah.
and wellness and weight loss and energy levels are going to increase for a period of time once your body has normalized.
It's like a side effect.
Whether yeah, it's just a
Positive
side effect.
of eating without all the
Yeah,
junk.
without eating all the junk.
Yeah.
So you take that understanding and you look at it and you go, okay, if a vegan can eat like a vegan and be healthy in the beginning, and a carnivore can eat like a carnivore and be healthy in the beginning, and they're not dying and they don't have all these ailments like blood pressure issues and heart disease and diabetes, they fix those problems. The problem with both of them, both ends, and I'm not dogging on either one of them, is there are probably some deficiencies that are good for you either mentally or physically, your physiology, because depending on your age and what you're trying to rid yourself of, what disease you're trying to rid yourself of, like cancer, if you went vegetarian or vegan, you can eat all the vegetarian vegan stuff you want to, just keep all the processed crap out of it. The same thing with the carnivore side of it. You can eat all the good organic meats, but don't eat the stuff that is processed,
Right.
highly processed. Stick to one ingredient and you'll find that you'll have better health. But culturally, societally, marriage, we both have very different
we have very
diets.
different, right? Culturally, we have different backgrounds in our diets, but you've actually done the research and found that eating the way you eat is actually better for you. My culture is probably more fish-based than
Yeah, I'm not worried about my estrogen levels or,
No.
or any of my
No.
my menopausal
So the woman's
hormonal
cycle,
needs.
yeah,
I'm
very,
not
very
worried
different.
about those. What I'm worried about is restoring my testosterone, because when you
As
hit
you age,
50s,
that it naturally declines.
yeah, so eating a meat animal-based diet boosts my testosterone, which regulates my energy, which regulates my metabolism, which regulates my strength and wellness and capability. So I don't have signals being sent throughout my body saying, "Oh, that's broken, let it go. Just stop feeding nutrients to that bone because that bone doesn't have any strong muscles on it." Well, your bones are where your immune system is derived from, and if you allow your bones to get weak because you're eating a crappy diet, not doing anything all day, well, you're going to end up with brittle bones and osteoporosis, because the body is a very smart mechanism. It knows what you're putting into it, and it knows that what we're usually putting into it isn't so good. So I'm going to start wrapping it up here, because I can go on and on about this all day long.
Absolutely. It's a whole thing. We do have different needs, our joints and all those things, preferences. But in reality, we've become conditioned, and it's something he and I have really kind of talked about a lot lately, in nutrition. And, that's different than just food. Nutrition is the food choices to meet my intentions, to meet my goals, to meet the needs of my body, and to meet the preferences that I have. There's foods he likes that I don't like. There's foods that I like that he doesn't like. But people are so wrapped up in this style of eating. 3 square meals. Eating with sides. Like, what are our sides going to be tonight? Where I'm having chicken. we sit down together and he may grill me a couple of turkey cutlets and that's all I eat. There's no side. He has a steak. There's no side.
Nope.
You don't need the sides. You know, and it really, to me, for the way I eat, it opens the door for me to be able to eat some fruit. I can have a couple of bananas for breakfast. I can have half a steak for dinner. I mean, you don't have to have all the fluff and stuff around everything. Nutrition is simple.
Yep.
It should be simple, because simplicity is why we have health. Health is the absence of disease, and we can balance that out in wellness.
Yep. So in closing, one of the things that I learned a long time ago is that facts tell and stories sell. And if you want facts, go look up the facts. There's a lot of facts out there. You can get facts all day long. What you don't have, and what most people don't have, is desire, understanding of why they need to change the way they eat. And that's what we're going to help you with. I can give you facts about different ingredients that are put in a food all day long, and we can do that. But is that going to change how you eat and why you eat? You're gonna have to find a reason to change the way you eat, whether it's your family, whether it's your own higher self telling you you are disgusting, you need to change something. Because
start with flipping the label.
Yes, just read. Stop something. Stop eating something that you know damn well is bad for you. And just one thing. That's all you have to do. All the information is on the internet. It's all out there. What is missing is people telling you how to do it and why to do it. Everybody's why is going to be different. Everybody's how is going to be different.
Their intentions are different.
But the intention of wellness and becoming the best version of yourself should be enough to get you on that road. And if you're dabbling around with trying to figure out how to eat, trust me, there's been a lot of fads that have come across you and I. We're
the
talking
grapefruit diet.
We're looking at all these diets
and where are they now? They came in
and they're gone.
So people jump on those, and then all of a sudden they're gone.
Because it's unsustainable.
It's not sustainable.
And my point with the whole vegan and carnivore thing is it's a starting point. It's not a staying point, unless you just have chronic illness that's the only way you can survive. Most of us aren't like that. Once we get healthy, we stay healthy because we get tired of feeling bad. And
it feels good to feel good. It feels good to use nutrition as a way to energize and sustain us in our daily lives. The ups and downs. Life does this, right?
And if you want to know what freedom is, if you want to know what absolute freedom is when you know what foods your body should be eating, and you
know what's in them.
You know it. You know what's in them, and you know it makes you feel good. And the insurance companies and the sickness care industry and the pharmaceutical industry, they have no more control over you. You are your own savior in that sense, because if you're waiting for the government or Trumpy boy to come in and save you by restructuring the government, you might be waiting a while. You might not even make it that long. So I'm going to leave it there. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there, and leave us a comment. Let us know what you want to know about, what you really need information on. If you're out there struggling with getting started and dealing with your families and telling them how to shut the hell up because you're not eating enough cake.
Share your intentions. Let us know what your intentions and your goals are.
Because this week, this coming up week, Thanksgiving, there's going to be a lot of peer pressure into what you should and shouldn't be eating, and most of these people don't know what the hell they're talking about because they're on medications too. So,
we'll support you.
Yep. We're going to leave it there.
Yep.
Talk to y'all later.